Hello and welcome to COM 110. My name is Tracy DeVette-Griggs and I'll be your instructor for this semester. I hope you're looking forward to this class. I know it's required for many of you and it stresses some of you out to think about the speeches that we have to do and some of the other things that we might be asked to do in this class. But please look at it as an opportunity to learn a roadmap about communications that really could help you as you navigate your way through different organizations or business settings, even family and personal settings in your classroom. There's an unspoken type of rule that many of us operate on out there, and if you know what it is, that can be valuable to you. That can help you to avoid some pitfalls that you might fall into. So look at this as an opportunity to explore how you communicate personally and just to think a little more deeply about why people communicate the way that they do in different cultures, both nationally and just in subcultures in our own community. Yes, I will be doing lectures. I hope you consider this a plus. My students from former semesters have found them to be interesting and a great addition to this class, so I hope that you'll find that to be the case too. I try to not just repeat what the textbook said, so it is important that you read both the textbook, preferably read the textbook first, then watch my lecture before you take the quiz or answer the discussion questions, because I draw from the text and from my lectures on both of those, and on the tests as well, the big tests that you'll be taking in mid-semester and at the end of the semester. So please don't ignore my lectures. I do bring a lot of practical experience to this class, and because of that, I try to bring some interesting stories to you as well that go along with your reading. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I have been in communication for many years. I did my undergrad at UNC Chapel Hill in a communication-related field, broadcast journalism at that time. I worked in radio news for many years when I first got out of school. Then I went freelance and I started doing some audio programs and video production. I did on-camera narration. I started producing videos as well for some large Research Triangle Park companies such as IBM and GlaxoSmithKline, Nortel, who's not a large company anymore, but was at the time. And then went back, got my master's degree, and I've been doing a lot of communication coaching, working with nonprofits and helping them get their communications working. And now I've begun teaching communication classes as well. So I have a wide and varied background and a lot of kind of fun stories, I think. So I hope you'll find these lectures to be interesting. Okay, let's take a quick run through your syllabus. I'm just going to hit the highlights. You are responsible for reading it carefully, but I just want to draw a few things to your attention. You will have a syllabus quiz, just so we can make sure that you understand the important things about what's on this document. But just to explain why this is important for you to understand, this is like a contract between you and Wake Tech and your instructor. So that means this is what you can expect to happen from us as far as communication and changes in what we do throughout the semester and that kind of thing. It also means that this is what Wake Tech expects of you, and this is what you can expect of Wake Tech. So it really is like a contract, and so it's important for you to read it carefully because there are some things in here that could really make a big difference to you as you go through the semester. So, all right, well, let's take a look. You can see my courses this semester are Section 5 and Section 6. You can see that at the top. You can see that our book is Understanding Human Communication, 12th edition. This is very important. This is a new book. Make sure you have the 12th edition because it is quite different from what they've been using in the past. This is an online class. It is completely online. You are expected to have high-speed internet access, a computer, the ability to, which we'll get into later, the ability to record a speech and upload it to YouTube. So if these things make you stressed out and you don't think you can figure out how to make that happen, then you need to probably sign up for a seated class. Course requirements, of course, as I just said, make sure that you have a higher level of computer and internet understanding than you might be required to have in a seated class. That doesn't mean you have to have a really fast computer, but you certainly need to have access to one. There are times when you're going to need to do things, uploading the videos and that kind of thing, where you might need a good computer watching the video, my video lectures, that kind of thing. All right, there are the course evaluation and grade percentages. So that's how you can figure out how you're going to be graded. I do put all of your grades in Blackboard, and I have those so that you can keep up with your grade as you go along. So check it, make sure you're on track. Assignment guidelines, how you should have your papers labeled when you turn them in, and the general course schedule. So this is generally how we're going to go. This could change throughout the semester, especially considering the fact that we have a new book. I wouldn't print this out and post it somewhere. I mean, you can if you want, but just make sure that you understand that the final say on what is due each week is in your Blackboard assignments, weekly assignments folder. If you have questions about what the different terms are in this course, here's a good outline. The speeches that we talked about, one thing that gives people a hard time, it seems like, is finding those 6 audience members to do your speech in front of. That can be difficult. So think about that. Who are you going to ask? All right, now we're getting to kind of into the division section, what Wake Tech expects, basic policies. This attendance policy is really important for a community college class. We have our auditors who are making sure that the students that we say we have, we actually have. So that's why they're so weird about your attendance. You must, to be marked present in this class, you must do one assignment for that week, at least one assignment for that week. Of course, if you only do one, you probably won't have a very good grade in this class, but to be counted present, you have to do an assignment. You can't miss any more than 1 week. So if you are absent and you don't turn anything in for a week, then the next week you miss, you would be over the 1.6 classes that you are allowed to miss for a 16-week class. I may, unless there are extenuating circumstances, drop you from the class if you miss more than 1 week of assignments. Very important. Now, as I mentioned, extenuating circumstances, if there are things that happen in your life, talk to me about it. Don't just disappear. Talk to me about what's going on, because I want you to be successful. I want you to do well in this class. I don't want you to have to drop it if things get kind of crazy in your life. I can work with you, but I have to know what's going on. So talk to me. All right, here's my policy on late assignments and tests. I do accept some assignments late, but you're not going to like the consequences. So if you turn in your quiz or test or discussion board late, I will not accept them. Those I don't accept. You will be given a 0. Other late work, papers and speeches, I will accept late, turn them in late rather than not turn them in at all. But you're going to get 10 points off for 1 day late, 20 points off for 2 days late, 30 points off for 3 days late, etc. Again, extenuating circumstances. If you have a car accident, if you're sick and can produce a doctor's note, if somebody in your immediate family died, if there's a business thing that comes up at the last minute and you can't get out of it, I mean, talk to me and we'll see what we can work out. Here's what I just said. I can communicate with you via your official Wake Tech email address, but only grade-related kind of information if you filled out that form, which is in your folder this week. Blackboard, everything that you need to know should be on Blackboard. So make sure you check in your announcements there. Some of you have a hard time checking your Wake Tech email. There are ways to forward your Wake Tech emails to your personal email. If that makes it easier for you, you just need to kind of click around down there in your email, Wake Tech email, and see how you can forward that. The only tricky thing about that is if you want to send me an email, you have to send it through your Wake Tech official email. All right, there's the FERPA statement. We keep your private information private. That's basically what that says. Okay, here's an important thing that I really didn't think I would have to talk about too much, but I have had problems with it. This academic integrity thing. Please read this carefully. There are ways that you can get kicked out of Wake Tech. There may be things that you did in high school or you did it somewhere else that you thought, oh, well, everybody does that. Well, you know, everybody doesn't do it. Cheating is cheating. I'm more than happy for you to collaborate on some assignments together, but taking a quiz, an exam, or a test with someone else or for someone else is not okay. Plagiarism is another important one. Make sure you understand what plagiarism is. Make sure you understand when you want to quote somebody, when you want to pull information from the web into a paper that you're writing, what you have to do to identify the person where you got that information. Because if you don't, I mean, you can get kicked out for that and you can lose a job later on if you do that. This is serious, so please read over the plagiarism section. Make sure you understand what that means. And then, of course, you see some of the academic penalties and that kind of thing if you don't adhere to those. You can get a 0, an F, or kicked out of the school if it happens again. Just look at all that. Disability support services, if you need that. If you need some extra time or that kind of thing for your tests, you have to go through disability support services and sign up with them, and then they will contact me and let me know. Individualized Learning Center and Speak Center. Wake Tech has some great opportunities for you to get extra help if you need it, and they're free. Hello, they're free. Take advantage of them, please. They've got free tutors for you. That if you're behind in your writing and you never have figured out, how to do, math or whatever. I mean, they go over there, tell them you need some help, sign up and go in a couple times a week. So, and they're conveniently located. You can see 5 Wake Tech locations now. Speak Center has some great things. If you've got anxiety about delivering your speeches, you can go in there and work with the speech coach, and they'll help you prior to your speech and that kind of thing to make sure that you're on target. So, okay, so that's pretty much it. Quick run through. Read it carefully. Take your little syllabus quiz, and off we go into the semester. Talk to you soon.